What if I told you the way real estate agents get paid could actually cost you thousands? Or that some agents push homes harder, not because they're better, but because it benefits them. Let's talk about the stuff that no one else will tell you. Hi YouTube, I am Kareem Howard, a licensed realtor with Gerlach Homes out here in Denver, Colorado. And on this channel, I break down everything you need to know about buying, selling, investing all out here in Colorado without the BS. If you're a Denver homeowner thinking about selling, I've put together a free ebook that shows you exactly how to boost your home's value by up to $34,000 without spending thousands of dollars on renovations. It even includes my 18-point home seller checklist and a free home evaluation. Just click the link below and grab your free seller kit, and I'll personally follow up to help you create a game plan and sell your home for top dollar. Now let's get into the video. I first want to talk about how agent commissions really work. So when you first go to list your home and you meet with an agent, this is where negotiations about agent commissions typically start. Now with all of the NAR changes, negotiations are a little bit different than what it used to be. Back in the past few years, pretty much anytime you've sold a house before last year, when you go to list your home and you're negotiating on the agent commission, the agent typically negotiates what his commission's gonna be and what you're gonna be paying the buyer's agent. And so a lot of the time, pretty much prior to NAR, a lot of people were saying that it's typical to list at 6%, where maybe 3.2 goes to the listing agent, 2.8 goes to the buyer's agent. And the whole reason all of those NAR changes happened is because people were using words like, this is typical, this is industry standard, and sellers felt like they were locked into using whatever the agent told them. But the truth is that all of these commissions were negotiable. And so most good agents would come in, this is negotiable, maybe it's 5%, 2.5 to the listing agent, 2.5 to the buyer's agent, and so on. And now that NAR made changes to where these commissions aren't shown on the MLS, none of it's public anymore, the new change is when you go to list a house, the listing agent is only negotiating the listing agent's commission. And so instead of 6%, you're splitting 6%, now a listing agent can come in and say, you're only paying 3% for my commission. And then once we get an offer on your home, the buyer's agent has to negotiate their own commission. Now this is helpful because sellers don't feel like they're locked into commissions anymore. And so instead of listing 5, 6, 7, 8%, they're really only paying 2.5 to 3% for the listing agent. And then when a buyer's agent comes in, if they come in with a good offer, maybe they're willing to pay them 2.8, 3% because it's a good offer. But if they come in $25,000, $50,000 below the offer price, then maybe you're only paying them 2%, 1.5%. And so you have a lot more negotiation room now. Now, next in the market, you're gonna see that a lot of agents are pushing homes harder. But does this mean that the home's better for you? Why are these agents pushing these homes? So the way that real estate agents are paid is based on commission, and you only get commission when you sell a home. And so a lot of the time when people are pushing homes really hard and they're really trying to force a sale on you, whether you're a seller, whether you're a buyer, they might just need the money, as sad as it sounds. And so some people are going to be pushing homes. Let's say you have a buyer's agent, they're taking you shopping and you don't like the house. And they're like, you should get this house. It's a really good deal. Inspection went great. Like they're really trying to push the house. If you're ever feeling like they're being really pushy with you, it might just be they need the money. They need to sell because they haven't sold a home in a while. And this could pretty much go the same way with the listing agent. If a listing agent lists your home and they keep telling you that you have to drive the price down, like we need to do X and Y to get this home sold, and it's something you're not comfortable with anymore, or maybe they're making you list 100,000 below what you initially wanted, you're not comfortable with it, they might just need the money, and maybe it's just not the right agent for you to work with. Now, next, I want to talk about the hidden costs that most real estate agents do not tell you about. Now, a lot of these are going to be targeted towards buyers because I kind of feel like buyers are less in the know than sellers. Sellers have already bought a house, they've gone through the closing process, they know what it's like to buy a house, they know all of these costs. But first-time home buyers, a lot of the people that I work with don't know any of the costs. Now, one of the biggest costs that most first-time home buyers are surprised by is closing costs. So let's say you're under contract on a home for $500,000. And a lot of people aren't going to tell you that on top of putting the down payment, on top of the inspection, the appraisal, all of the good stuff, that you still have to pay closing costs. Closing costs are title fees, fees to get HOA docs. It's going to be fees to close on the real estate transaction. And so a lot of the time closing costs are about 3% out here in Denver, Colorado. So on a $500,000 home, you might be paying $15,000 in closing costs. Now for a lot of people, $15,000 is not chump change. It's a good chunk of money. And so a lot of people saving up money, you also want to save up for closing costs. Now the good thing, especially out here in Colorado, is I use a lot of down payment assistance programs. There's really good ones like CHAFA, the bread and butter of Colorado, where you only pay $1,000 for the down payment. There's FHA, there's Metro DPA, there's so many down payment assistance. And so when I have buyers who have $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 to their name that cannot afford these closing costs, when we go under contract on a house, when I initiate the offer, I come in and I tell them, hey, this is a CHAFA deal, this is a Metro DPA deal, we don't have money for closing costs. Can you guys, as the seller, cover our closing costs? And so on a $500,000 house, let's say we're using CHAFA, they put $1,000 down, I'll typically ask for $15,000 credit for the sellers to pay our closing costs. And this is how you can get away with paying some of those hidden costs, something that you might not know that you have to pay as a new buyer in Colorado. Now on top of that, there's gonna be pretty much normal fees you're always gonna pay for in a real estate transaction. You should always pay for an inspection, right? When you go under contract on a property, you wanna make sure everything looks good. You have dates and deadlines to ask for things to get fixed, ask for money. Inspection's a big one. Now when you're doing inspection, you don't just want a general inspection. You wanna make sure you do a radon test, make sure that the air isn't poisonous. You also want to do a sewer scope, make sure all the sewer lines are great. Just a few more things to add on to your general inspection. Now, lastly, buyers are also going to be paying for an appraisal. Now, when you're getting a new loan on a property, you have to get an appraisal because the house has to be worth whatever you're getting a loan for the property is. Now, let me explain. Let's say your house is $500,000, you put $20,000 down, and your loan is about $480,000. If the home is only worth $400,000, then a bank is not going to lend you $480,000 on the home. And so what you have to do is you have to get an appraisal. Someone comes out and they pretty much check the home's value. They look at comps, they look at the area, they look at finishes, and they make sure that the home is actually worth as much as you're paying for it so that you can actually get a loan on the home. So this is just a small list of things that new buyers are typically going to be paying for when you're going under contract. Now, lastly, I want to give you some insider tips about off-market deals and bidding wars. Now, off-market deals, what does that mean? A lot of people have heard of an off-market deal through an agent, through a friend, something where they don't go on Zillow, they don't go on the MLS, and you kind of snipe that deal out for a really good price. What does that mean? So me as an agent, I have access to talking to so many other agents in my office, agents in other offices. We all kind of collaborate. And sometimes when you're talking to another agent, they're like, hey, I have a family friend, I have a neighbor who is thinking about selling their house, but they're willing to go off market if you have a buyer in that price point. And sometimes I do have a buyer in that price point. Maybe they have a house out in Arvada, 480, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it's something that one of my buyers is looking for. And I'm like, hey, can I actually take a look at that house? And sometimes you can go take a look at the house and they're willing to do an off-market deal and give you a really good price because they don't have to spend money on marketing. They don't have to hit the market. They don't have to have time on market. They don't have to go through showings, renovations, like all of this big stuff. And so if you can find an off-market deal like that, if your agent has a list of other homes that are about to go live and you want to see those homes, I think it's always a great option to start because you might be able to get it below market value because they're not going to spend a lot of money. Or you might just be able to find a good home and you don't have to worry about getting into a bidding war because it hasn't hit the market. Now, to end the video, the truth is not all agents are created equal. Some genuinely have your best interests at heart and some are just chasing commission checks. Now, if you're thinking about buying or selling your home in Denver and you want someone that's going to be real with you every single step of the way, then I would absolutely love to be that person. And don't forget, if you're a Denver homeowner, grab that free seller kit down below. It is jam-packed with value. It can literally save or earn you thousands when it's your turn to go sell. I am Kareem Howard, a licensed realtor with Gerlach Homes. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.